Welcome to another episode of the Basecamp Country podcast. My name is Kix Nelson, and today we have a special guest with us by the name of Curt Myers. Curt is an Illinois land professional with Basecamp Country Real Estate. We're here to talk to Curt today, get to know him a little bit, figure out what he's all about. How you doing, Curt?
Pretty good, Kix. How are you?
Not too bad, man. Not too bad. Well, this is take number 2. We recorded one already and had some technical problems, so here we are again.
Yeah, we did. That's right. It's always good to talk to you, though.
Absolutely, man. Well, glad we finally got you back on here, and let's try this again. Sounds like our sound is good. We're all good. We're ready to rock today, man.
All right. Sounds great.
Curt, tell us a little bit about yourself, man. How long you been involved in real estate, and when did you get involved with it, and what made you get involved with it?
I guess I'll start with what made me get involved with it. It's always been a passion of mine, being in the outdoors. So from a very young age, just introduced to the outdoors and absolutely fell in love with it. So moving up into my career, you just watch these people get on farms and increase the habitat, increase the food sources, and attract deer that everybody in the world would love to kill. So I always wanted to get into that aspect of it. Met a good friend in Casey Shootman, and he kind of led me to Tom when they were expanding into Illinois. That was in 2019. So I got in touch with Tom, went over and met him. Great people. That guy is a wealth of knowledge, man. I don't talk very much when Tom's around. Yeah.
I'm telling you, man.
So, yeah, you want to talk about a guy that can make an average guy feel really dumb.
Yeah.
He's the guy.
100%, man.
Right. But yeah, it just kicked it off with those guys, man. And this team has just been great ever since. So
awesome.
Happy
What year
to be a
did you
part
say
of
that
it.
was?
2019. Yep.
Okay. So you've been in it about 5 years.
Yep.
You've been
just rolling up on it.
And so you've been with Basecamp the whole time that you've been a licensed agent.
Yeah. Yep. I got my license. So talked to Tom and did my onboarding in September of 19. And then got my license just before Thanksgiving that year.
I gotcha.
Yep.
So was being a real estate agent something that, you had always thought about doing? Did it just?
I probably not. I didn't know, how I was ever going to get into that industry of buying land, and you just sit as a kid and watch prices go up and up and up. And, working for a farmer here and there, after college and through college, talking to those old timers, they'll all tell you that there's never a piece of ground they didn't wish they would have bought, when they had the chance 20 years ago. So, yeah, just in talking with Tom and getting into it, I'm like, this is probably as close as I'll ever be able to get, is just walking these farms that are for sale. And then I kind of shifted to maybe I'll just help people set them up, and get the properties that they want, sell people their dream property. And I've really come into that. Sold a property to a guy last year, and we set some stuff up on it. And he text me one day and said, "Hey, which one of these stands would you hunt?" And I said, "Well, the wind's switching from the north to out of the south." So I said, I'd come in from the north and slip in there right next to that bedding area and catch them before bed. I never heard anything. And it was like 3 days later, he text me back, and I said, "How'd you do the other night?" And he goes, "Oh, I killed this one." They sent me a picture of, a mid 150s inch deer. And I'm like, "You're just now telling me this?" So
I literally told you where to go.
Yeah. Right. Told you the stand to sit in. But yeah, that's always makes me happy to help people do that,
That's awesome, man. You guys got some big deer up there in Illinois, man.
We're pretty blessed. Yes, we are.
What kind of land do you mostly deal with? What's your market look like up there? Is it mostly farmland, timberland, recreational ground? Like, what are you dealing with for the moment?
My counties, I got a decent mix. Some of my northern 4 counties get into the tillable stuff, a little flatter land. And then my southern counties, it's all, Adams, Brown, Hancock, McDonough, Schuyler, those farm. I mean, McDonough's a little bit, it kind of is the split right there between good tillable and then some of the wooded stuff on the south end. But I deal with it all. I do rec properties and hunting properties. I just had a big auction last year on some tillable stuff that went really well for us. So yeah, we'll mix it up. We'll do live here in Macomb, Illinois, and it's a college town, so get the occasional house buyer here and there, So yeah, just anything to keep the business going.
What area of Illinois are you located in?
I'm in Macomb, so if you take the Missouri and Iowa border and come in about 40 miles, I'm right there.
Okay. So kind of the northwest corner a little bit?
Yeah, west central, I'd say.
Gotcha. Well, man, what do you enjoy most about, working in real estate? What's your favorite part about it?
The people is got to be it, whether, we have bad experiences and good experiences, but yeah, the good people definitely outweigh the headaches. But just, yeah, I'm a social butterfly, so anytime I get to meet somebody, I'll gladly take off.
Tell us a little bit about your family, man. You got any kids?
Oh yeah, I've got two older ones from my wife's first marriage, Avery and Liam. Avery's 16, Liam's 12, and then we've got one of our own, Huntley, and she's 5 years old, going on 15.
Wow, got them spread out all over the place.
Yeah, yep.
That's awesome, man. Well, let's get into the hunting segment of our show, brother. But I know hunting season's kind of over pretty much for the most part, but how'd your hunting season go this year?
I saw a lot of really good deer. And when I say that, like no shooters. So, but a lot of promising upcoming 3-4 year olds. Think I had another deer, one of our shooters. I didn't see him in person, but on camera numerous times. And I think I just got him the other night. It was foggy and he walked through about 20 yards in front of the camera and couldn't see it, but the frame looks similar. I'm hoping it's him.
Well, you got some monster deer hanging on your wall back there, man. Are you the type of guy that won't shoot anything bigger than what you already have hanging?
No, mostly I'm an age guy. 5.5, if I can pin him to that, he's getting it, whether it's a big, 90-inch 6-pointer or, one of these big ones back here. I chase age. Took Casey, really kind of coaching me up on that. Mm-hmm. But I had some really good leases there for several years, and these deer behind me are a product of it. Just letting them grow. You never know what you got until, if you shoot them when they're young, you're never going to know. So try to preach that. Yeah, try to preach that. Just get them to 5 and see what they do. Since then, I lost some of those leases, and I'm still on the same boat. So I just kind of sit back and take the kids and let them go. And if something makes their heart beat enough that they want to shoot it, I'll let them. And then get out with my dad and really try to get him something special one of these years.
You guys, I may be wrong on this, but you guys don't have a rifle season in Illinois, is that right?
Nope. We went to straight wall, and even I think there's a length regulation on that, but we can use 350 Legend and like those straight wall cartridges now.
Okay. What was
in
the
a single shot format only? Honestly, I don't know. They were pretty flat up here, so I think it was a safety aspect, of people being crammed in every 40-acre parcel around and touching off, high-powered rifles. Then again, it doesn't really make sense to me because you can coyote hunt with any caliber you want. So we're good in some aspects and not in the other.
That's crazy. Do you guys have any kind of like in Missouri, up in our northern counties, we have a antler restriction rule. Do you guys have anything like that up there?
I wish we did. We don't. Um, yeah, if you see it, shoot it.
Yeah, that's how it is down here where I live. It's just, these guys, if it's brown, it's down. So, yeah.
Yeah,
But in
yeah,
northern Missouri, they have a 4-point rule, and some of the counties up there, they got rid of it in some counties this year just because of the CWD stuff going on and all that. But
right,
it, I wish they would do a 4-point rule down here because, man, it would make a huge difference in our deer herd, I think.
right, right. And we've got some younger genetic, 6 and 8 point deer that can be a year and a half old. Um, and I don't know that it would help us much, with some of the class of deer that we have around.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can really put an inch restriction on it, or if it even do any good. The state of Illinois took our check stations away, and you call in your tags. So if it, you know, if it didn't meet criteria, call it in. Who's gonna
Right.
check you?
Never going to know.
We we typically don't shoot, the barely Pope and Young or 130-inch deer. But who am I to tell a guy from Louisiana or New York or Pennsylvania that's never seen a 130-inch deer that's not a trophy either?
Yeah.
So the trophy's in the eye of the beholder. So it's really hard to justify putting restrictions on stuff like that.
Yep. I agree. What's your opinion about this whole CWD thing, man?
Man, I just sent you that video the other night, and that guy, he's got me convinced. I don't
Yep.
know. He's talking about he's seen every type of virus, fungus, everything under a microscope, and there's no such thing as a prion or whatever they're calling it.
Yeah.
But he's got me believing it. I don't think that CWD has killed as many deer as the wildlife services have,
Yep.
by any means. But going off of that gentleman's description, it's not even a transferable disease. And he relates it to Parkinson's, and you're not going to go in and wipe out a whole village of people because one person has Parkinson's. So yeah, if you watch that video, it's pretty interesting to see that side of it.
I did watch that video, man, and I'm conflicted about the whole situation, to be honest with you, because I've talked to some very smart wildlife biologists that, do a pretty good job of convincing me that it's real. And then I
Right.
talked to guys like the guy you sent the video on, and they got a pretty good convincing story as well, and it's like,
Yeah.
man, what to
Yeah.
believe?
And this is getting way down in the weeds, but I read a story one time about a nutritional doctor that went to Chernobyl after that nuclear meltdown, and they were giving aid to the people over there. And he said this one group of people came in and they were not affected, had no radiation poisoning at all. He said, so he started studying these people, and it was all multivitamin based. And just hearing that, and then hearing this guy talk about I think he says it's a cholesterol deficiency,
Mhm.
and he talks about how deer takes, they eat soybeans and acorns and all these high cholesterol food sources. And it makes sense to me as you get up into Wisconsin, the soybean production may not be as good. The oak trees aren't, as prevalent, especially as far north as you get in Wisconsin.
Yeah.
And then same way out west, you get into western Missouri, Kansas. I don't know how many oak trees are out there. I've only been that way a couple times, but it makes sense, that there is a deficiency there.
Yeah, I mean, in my area especially, that's all we have, oak trees
Oh,
everywhere.
really?
I mean, we have, yeah,
Yeah.
we're loaded with them. Kansas, I'm
Right.
not so sure. I'm not real familiar with Kansas over there, but yeah, in southern Missouri, man, it's an all wooded area. I mean, we got 1.5 million acres of Mark Twain National Forest down here, and
Right. Right.
it's just
Acorns
full,
everywhere.
yeah, everywhere, man. And so our deer down here, they don't get real big. I mean, you kill 130, 140 inch deer, but 150-inch deer around here is a very rare thing.
Right. And see, I think that's where that plays effect too, is that, it's a mineral deficiency even in antlers. And you look at like our deer up here, if you shoot a deer I mean, it's common to shoot a deer that's field dressed 200 pounds and,
Yeah.
has a 140-inch rack. Even our does, I've shot some does that field dressed, 160, 175 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just all that mineral intake, it comes from the ground, it goes into the body. And if you're lacking in any source, I mean, it's going to affect body size of an animal, antler size. I mean, everything.
I've got 26 acres over here, and I'm gonna go in and clear off a big spot right in the middle of it, and I'm gonna plant something for this next year. I don't know what I'm gonna do
Yep.
yet, but I'm pretty excited about it. So
There you go.
see if
There
we can
you
start
go.
growing some deer.
Yep. Can you supplement in your county?
So we used to be able to up until this year.
Yeah.
This year with the CWD thing, any county, which is 90% of the counties in the state, any county that has CWD regulations cannot throw out any kind of mineral. They cannot bait. They can't nothing. Which we can't bait anyway. During hunting season, you have to have it pulled out. I think 14 days before hunting season starts. But you can bait them like all summer long and all that, But
Gotcha.
this year they said no, you're not even doing that. So we couldn't even do anything this year, man. It was a terrible year. This is probably the worst deer hunting season I've ever seen. I've been hunting since I was 14 years old, and I'm 43, and I've never seen it this bad. It was awful.
Yeah. Yeah, we had some EHD come through in the summertime. I have a neighbor right here just by my house, owns a pretty good stretch along one of the rivers right here. And I think he told me they found 15 bucks on 5 different farms. And I think he said 11 of them were mature, deer that they were looking to go after.
Wow.
So it's crazy how it affects different deer in different areas. Sometimes it hits the young ones in the does, but from my experience, it's usually your older class bucks that it's hard.
That EHD.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I did. Tom was saying that those older class bucks are that little biting midge, that fly or whatever, that midge that is more attracted to those velvet covered antlers, which is why they
heat signature or something off of them.
Yeah, that's why it's the propensity to kill those bigger bucks like that. He says so.
Yeah,
I
can see it.
Yeah, yeah. Tom is a very smart man, man.
Yeah.
Well, brother, we got a little segment we like to call our quick draw questions.
Okay.
I'm going to ask you about 20 or so questions here and just answering to the best of your ability. You ready for that?
All right. Yeah.
All right, man. One thing you never leave behind on a hunt.
One thing I would never leave behind on a hunt: my bow. Believe it or not, I've taken off from the house and done that before.
Yeah, I believe it.
Yeah. When you run like we do,
yeah,
you get a chance to get out, you get all excited and you take off and you're like, oh no.
Yeah. What did I do?
Yep.
Go back to the house real quick.
Yep.
What is the first thing you look at when walking a new property, man?
I would say before I even get on it, I'm looking at aerials. If it's a tillable farm, I'm looking at slopes and drain, how it drains. On the hunting side of stuff, I'm looking for northwest winds, west winds, south wind locations, just to see, the huntability of that farm before I ever get on it. And then once I do, I would say I start looking for cover, food source, water source. That's where your matriarch doe and your patriarch buck, they're going to have the best food, the best cover, the best water. So if you can find that, you're going to find deer sign for sure.
Absolutely. Best way to improve soil for food plots.
Ooh, I've had really good luck with 1313. Throw some of that down. Depending on the size, just go off, the recommended dosage, if you will, for what you got, and a couple 100 pounds per acre. Throw that in there, and I think they call for 200. I might be way off on that, but I think it's 200 pounds. So a couple bags, and spread it out there and watch it turn deep blue-green and catch that nitrogen.
Nice. All right. What is the most surprising thing that you've learned about deer behavior?
Growing up, we always thought that deer traveled with their nose in the wind, so they can smell. That's their biggest asset, is that nose. But that's not the case. Those deer, seems like, especially mature bucks, will travel with that wind at their back so they can smell where they've been and see where they're going. Or they'll quarter it, come across that wind. And yeah, that's been the most, and that they bed different places on different winds. This deer right here over my shoulder, I was able to pattern him off of wind directions. He'd bed on one side of the farm with a north and one side of the farm with a south, and it was switching right in the middle of the afternoon, and I was able to get in there and shot him October 18th, 17th or 18th at 4:00 in the afternoon. Man, he was out and moving.
Wow. That's awesome, man. Next question. Favorite camo brand?
I would say still to this day, my favorite is the old mossy oak tree bark.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember that.
Oh, yeah.
I had a fleece set of that, and it just, like, you could blend into anything.
Yep. That's good stuff, man. Old school, sometimes best.
That's right.
All right. Crossbow or compound bow?
Compound.
Okay. Favorite brand of bow?
I was a Bowtech guy for years, just because they were dual cam and faster. Switched over to Matthews when they came out with the Halon, and rode them until just this year. Got kind of fed up with the ease of everybody else's tuning systems, and felt like they were kind of lacking, falling behind. So I went back to a Bowtech this year.
Nice. What are you shooting?
SR 350.
Favorite broadhead?
I probably catch a lot of grief for this, but I am a rage guy through and through.
Yeah, you will catch a lot.
I have found more deer that I shouldn't have than I've lost because of my own errors.
Yeah. Next question. Favorite bow sights?
Bow sights. That Excel sight is hard to beat.
Yep.
The 5-pin. That I love their stuff. It's solid, solid stuff.
Favorite hunting app?
Favorite hunting app. It took me a while to get used to Hunt Stand, which is what we use as a company.
Mm-hmm.
But I would say that, after learning it and all that, it's probably hands down the best.
Yeah. I love Hunt Stand, man. I use it literally every day.
Yeah. Yep. I think sometimes their maps, as far as parcel owners, are a little out of date, but
Yep.
they can't help that. When counties don't report or whatever, it's hard
Right.
to pull new data.
Yep. All right, man. Tree stand, saddle, or blind?
I bought my first saddle this year,
How'd that go?
and it was a learning curve for sure.
Yeah.
But the more I get in it, the more I'm comfortable, and I like it. But if I'm in a tree stand, uh, I like my Millenniums for sure.
Next question. We got a couple more here for you. What is your favorite social media platform?
I'd probably have to say Facebook, just because that's where I have had everything since the beginning. If I didn't have a real estate business, I probably wouldn't have it at all.
Yeah,
But um,
I'm the same
yeah,
way.
right. It's it's good and bad. Bad because it's time consuming to keep up on, but it's definitely a good thing for passing knowledge and putting stuff out there to the people.
Absolutely. One more question here for you. What is the most challenging hunting season you've ever had?
Most challenging hunting season.
Question.
Yeah, it is. I mean, either you kill one or you don't. I feel like I've had a lot of challenging ones.
Me too.
I would say, probably I'll just put it on the see this deer on the right here. I called him high five. Um, got a picture of him the first time in 2016. As a 3-year-old, I just got this lease. Got pictures of him fairly regularly. Never ever saw him. In 2021, I got word that I was losing the farm. It had been purchased by another gentleman that was gracious enough to let me keep hunting it for the rest of the year. But the neighbors were pretty upset that that it had sold for one and that I was still hunting it. And I was hunting this stand. I got a picture of him the night before, and I'm like, well, I got to go try to kill him because my days are numbered. So I hung a set, and the neighbor saw my truck, and there had been a tree fall down across the fence and knock the fence down. They've got cattle and stuff, and that tree had been down since June, and so he sees my truck, pulls in, throwing fence posts around and running a chainsaw, and I'm like, this is completely blown up, but he pulled out about 20 minutes before, right at sunset, maybe a half hour. Right at sunset, he pulls out, and I'm pretty discouraged. Started packing my stuff, and I just happened. You get that feeling, when you're in the tree stand. I got this feeling and turned up and looked around. He's walking across the field, and he's coming straight at me, and I'm like, "There's no way this is going to happen." And he walked literally right to me and got to about 15 yards and quartered to the side of me. And I shot him, and I was just train wreck. He grossed to 177. So,
Wow.
yeah, it was just very emotional time. I'd had that lease, and the lease was through that family for 6 years or so, and really got to love those farms, and knew I was losing it, and it just kind of came together. It must have been, God's will that I got him.
Yeah.
So,
Made it happen.
Still kind of get goosebumps telling the story, because it's just, there's no other explanation for it other than, it was meant to be.
Yeah. Well, tell us about those deer back there, man. I want to know what they all score.
So this one here is 178. I killed him about 300 yards from where I killed that other one. This deer on the bottom with the flyers, I killed him on one of those other leases. And funny story, I had a buddy that shot him the week before gun season, and he ended up having to go back home. And first day of first season, he comes out with a doe, and they literally walked the same row of corn 400 yards across the field to me, and I shot him. Then the one behind him is 181. I killed him. I can't say where I killed him, but pretty close to the house. Yeah. And then that deer, this deer up here, he was 164. I killed this deer and the deer that's sweeping back there on the same farm. Right. And then that one on the right there, he was 178 as well.
That's the one. Well, man, you and your family own a bow shop, is that right?
Yep. Yeah, my dad, it's Crooked Creek Outdoors here in Macomb, Illinois. We've got Matthews, Bowtech, PSE, the sister companies of those two, Diamond and Mission, and just became a new expedition dealer as well.
Nice. Curt just released a video here a couple weeks ago did a review on the new Matthews Lift X. It's a good video. You ought to check it out. It's on YouTube, right?
Yes, sir.
Awesome, brother. Well, man, I won't keep you too much longer. I know you're tired. You want to get to bed. You got anything final thoughts you want to talk about or anything here?
No, man, just everybody wear your safety belts. As much as we love this, it's not worth paralyzing and not being able to support your families, and just be safe, everybody.
Yep, absolutely. Brother, I got one final question for you, and it's a question I ask all of my guests here, and it's going to take some thinking, but you ready for it?
Okay. Yeah, I'm ready.
All right, man. If you could give your 18-year-old self some advice, what would it be?
If I could give my 18-year-old self some advice, gosh, I don't know that I would change too much, but if I was going to give myself advice, it would be to save your money, start early, get yourself in a good spot where you can, I've always wanted to own a farm, never really knew what it took until I got into this. And if I would have started saving then, I'd be in a much better spot than I am right now.
Sure. I'm gonna play that for my 19-year-old after we can get this episode uploaded.
Okay. Yeah. Tell him Uncle Curt said so.
Yeah, I will. All right, brother. Well, I'll let you get off here, man. I sure appreciate your time today. Thanks for jumping on here and doing this again.
Yeah, no problem. Sorry it took so long.
No, it's all good, brother. All good. Well, guys, thank you for tuning in to this episode of the Basecamp Country Podcast. As always, go follow Curt on social media, Curt Myers, Illinois, Basecamp Country Real Estate on Facebook. What's your Instagram handle there, Curt?
I believe it's Basecamp Curt.
Basecamp Curt. Go follow that guy. Follow Basecamp Country on social media at Basecamp Country. And remember, here at Basecamp Country Real Estate, it's more than just dirt. It's a lifestyle. We will see you guys next week right here on the Basecamp Country Podcast.